Hey, we're back. We're revisiting the Mania. WrestleMania 3 is what we're revisiting today. I'm Carlos.
And I'm Maria.
And this is our in-house guest, Josh.
Hi, everyone.
Now, Josh is a very personal friend of ours. He's been watching wrestling for how long?
Most of my whole life.
All right, we need numbers, Josh.
Since I was 6.
Okay, so you've been watching it for at least 30 years plus.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Now, what is your wrestling origin story? What first drew you to the sports entertainment ring?
Hulk Hogan. Watching Saturday morning Superstars.
Okay.
As a kid. Watching it and just getting involved with the whole layout of the wrestlers and the storylines. Pretty much back then it was all gimmicks, so I was involved with just the way how everyone had like a different type of role in how they fought. So it was very interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yours was not a WrestleMania, but one of those syndicated shows that he had on like a Saturday early morning, like a 9 or 10 o'clock.
Yes.
Okay. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So now, Maria.
Yes.
WrestleMania 3.
Yes.
We're here and we're coming from live in Detroit. Well, technically, I think it's Pontiac because it's in the Pontiac Silverdome. But we have WrestleMania 3.
Okay.
We're no longer in 3 different cities.
Mm-hmm.
Vince finally settled to just do it in one. And he does it in a stadium that, well, according to the attendance, it's 93,173, which no one can confirm nor deny if that number is accurate.
I cannot confirm or deny.
But what I can tell you is that record holds for WWEF events in WrestleMania until 2017 when it's broken, when it's being held in WrestleMania 32.
Wow.
In Texas Stadium.
Wow.
Okay.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
I'm surprised.
So our first match, well, we get introduced to the national anthem, which technically is not the national anthem. It's the America the Beautiful, which I think that was going through the time when they were trying to make America the Beautiful the national anthem instead of the Star Spangled Banner.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sung by Aretha Franklin.
Right.
And Aretha Franklin actually has a piano and play it on. Unlike Ray Charles, who did not have a piano.
WrestleMania 2?
The last WrestleMania we saw, right, in New York. He did not have a piano. He was just up there in the ring singing it, a blind man by himself.
So the year is 1987?
That's correct, 1987.
And so you are asking if what was your question again?
Oh, I didn't have it. I'm just writing down the
Are you setting the scene?
Yeah, I'm setting up
We're
the
setting
scene.
the scene.
Yeah,
it's
and then
1987.
we get one of our few celebrity guests, because there isn't that many here. We have Bob Uecker being introduced, and Mary Hart.
Right.
And who is Mary Hart?
The only thing I know about Mary Hart is something that they mentioned here, which is that she ends up being the host, or is the host, of Entertainment Tonight.
Okay.
Right.
And do you recall ever watching her on Entertainment Tonight?
Sometimes.
Yeah, I don't recall ever seeing Entertainment Tonight. And I did not know Bob Uecker. I think I might have seen him. The earliest might have been in, I think, Major League.
Mm.
And then, if this is too early for Major League, it might have been around the Mr. Belvedere times.
Mm.
Mr. Belvedere.
Yeah,
Yes.
he was the dad of Mr. Belvedere.
Wow.
So.
Yeah. Wasn't he also known as Mr. Baseball?
No, Jesse says that he's known as Mr. Basketball.
What?
No, he's wrong. It's Mr. Baseball.
Okay.
But I just thought I'd throw that in there. Just
I read that he won Sportscaster of the Year 5 times.
as the announcer for the Milwaukee Brewers. Yes,
Wow.
you did a lot of research here for the quick turnaround we had.
I did a little research. I wanted to get ready and so I could be in fighting shape for our conversation.
Awesome. Yeah, we're still trying to narrow down a schedule, but I think after this one comes up, we'll announce hopefully our definite schedule for you people who are watching us and supporting us live.
Okay. So like you said, Aretha Franklin
Mhm.
sang America the Beautiful.
Yeah.
And I thought it was amazing. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm either confusing Ray Charles coming back again for WrestleMania, another WrestleMania, because I remember it's either that or Super Bowl,
Okay.
and that I think that one was that was the greatest rendition of America the Beautiful I've heard.
Oh.
So
okay.
I'm hoping it's a WrestleMania, but if someone knows that rendition of Ray Charles playing somewhere on a ramp, a piano, drop a comment and let us know.
Wow. So I mean, you want to talk about that first match?
Yeah,
Because
the first match we have is Rick Martel before he's known as the Model. That comes later on with Tom Zenk. They make up the Can-Am Connection, and they're going against the magnificent Don Muraco and Cowboy Bob Orton with Mr. Fuji as their manager.
okay.
This match goes 5 minutes and 40 seconds.
Wow, that's pretty short.
Yeah, and it kind of happens because Rick and the Can-Am Connection, Rick and Tom, are barely coming in here from Stampede Wrestling.
Okay.
Or AWA.
Okay.
And they barely formed this tag team because Rick Martel is primarily on his own.
Wow.
So they Rick Martel gets a call from Vince, and because he had been working with Vince before.
Okay.
And they get him into a contract, and Rick is like, well, I have my tag team partner that I've had him for about a year, Tom Bank. Can I bring him with? And Vince is like, yeah, sure. Why not? Let's see if it works. So, primarily from what I've seen, the Model is pretty much the worker, and he seems to be getting all the pop.
Okay.
And you can see why this tag team doesn't last. There's some drama that happens after this, but it's not televised, but behind the scenes, behind the kayfabe thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They break up primarily because Tom Zenk thinks that Rick has negotiated with Vince for a higher contract as a singles competitor. So he gets jealous, and that jealousy grows to them falling apart.
Okay. So Josh, who are you rooting for?
Of course, Rick the Model. Well, Rick Martel.
Okay.
So
I know
the
him as the
Can-Am
Model.
Connection.
Yeah, from the Can-Am Connection. Why is it called the Can-Am Connection anyway?
Because Rick is from Canada.
Oh.
And Tom is from America, so it's the Canadian American connection.
That makes sense.
Makes sense. Didn't know that.
Oh, and Maria, who were you rooting for?
I'm rooting for Muraco and Cowboy Bob Orton.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, Bob Orton got a scoop slam.
Okay.
So like, scoop, there it is.
Well, it was probably also good to see him still without a cast, right?
He had a cast in.
He had a cast in WrestleMania 1, and we always say that he's had it ever since he started his career as a wrestler.
Okay. I mean, I think that Rick Martel was great. There was definitely a lot of action, so that was super exciting.
A lot of action for a 5-minute match, right? It was very fast paced, and everything got done.
I mean, for me, I'm like, Muraco and his purple shorts are a talent.
So, unfortunately, they do not get the win. but the Can-Am connection does.
Oh yeah. I mean, they did a double drop kick, and I mean, pardon my language, but that shit was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Josh?
I thought it was a good match for it being only 5 minutes. For the most part, the fans were really into it.
They were.
Yeah.
And you can see why they're a very popular tag team at the time as a kind of face going against the heel.
Mm-hmm.
But and that's why I put it in my notes is like they got the good pop, they got the crowd behind them. This crowd throughout this whole pay-per-view, this crowd is very active.
Right.
Like they're very into the show and they're very demonstrative. Whether they're rooting for you or if they don't think that you're a very nice, kind person as a heel, they make themselves known by throwing some snacks at you or some other types of things at you.
Yeah, those are my favorite fans. My favorite bands in this order: soccer fans,
Mm-hmm.
wrestling fans, regular fans, because it's hot as hell outside. So those are my favorite fans.
Nice. If you have a list of your top 5 fans, please feel free to leave it in the comments.
I will say that out of all, well, I don't want to be a spoiler, but I was going to say this is one of my favorite matches.
Oh, well, you're supposed to save that towards the end, but that's good to know. We'll bookmark this as one of your favorite matches.
Thanks.
I did notice 2 things though.
Yeah, go ahead.
Muraco had like a bandage on his left leg for some reason.
Oh, good. I didn't even see that.
So I saw that and I noticed I'm like, well, what happened there?
All right.
And then I noticed that Muraco did the Ric Flair turnbuckle flip.
Oh, the overselling
Mhm.
of the whip to the corner or whatever. Yeah, that's very popular around this time.
Yeah, it happens a couple more times in this WrestleMania.
Yeah. All right. Moving along, we have match 2, which has Billy Jack Haynes versus Hercules
Hernandez.
with Bobby the Brain as his manager. The match goes 7 minutes and 50 seconds. Josh, who were you rooting for?
Hercules.
Hercules. Okay.
Hercules.
You were also for Hercules, babe?
Yeah, I was rooting for Hercules. I also noticed that he had a different look from WrestleMania too. Did anybody notice that?
What was the change? Because I thought he was still in trunks. I mean, he still had his chain.
He had a chain. His hair was slicked back. He looked a little bit more wild in WrestleMania too. So I was like, who? Oh yes, Hercules Hernandez.
Was this a match where they were looking to see who did the full Nelson better?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, who do you guys think did the full Nelson better?
I honestly think Billy Jack Haynes probably did it better.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. It's hard to tell because it's like they're not really putting it on.
That's true.
These guys have like very big muscles, and it's hard to get that to go around. Sorry about that, but to go around someone's head and put them in it properly. As you can see, they never show you. Well, they try to show you a couple of times, but the hands never grasp.
Right.
So, but it's one of those things where it's like you're supposed to suspend the belief. So
I think Billy Jack Haynes was like the master of the full Nelson during this match in his gold jacket. So I thought he did a really great job.
Wait, what state is he from? Did anyone guess?
who?
Billy Jack Haynes?
What state is he from?
Oregon.
Oregon.
Oh, did you ask that question?
Yeah.
Oh, I must have missed it.
Also, notice there was no music in the entrances for both.
Oh, okay, good pickup because I didn't notice that either.
Yeah, that happens a lot in this WrestleMania too. Not a lot of entrance music.
No, you get them for like the big stars where Vince wants to put out the money, like for the Macho Man and for Hulk Hogan. I remember those distinctly, but maybe for the Junkyard Dog
Okay.
too, but I can't like remember that because I wasn't. This time I wasn't paying attention because for the first one I was like really paying attention because I was like I want to know who was the first person. I knew someone had entrance music.
Okay.
And I had always banked that it was gonna be like for Wendy Richter, or that might have played or one Mr. T, and but then it ended up being that it was the Junkyard Dog that got the first music in at the first WrestleMania.
Wow. I mean, I thought Bobby the Brain Heenan had a lot of flair during this match.
Yeah,
So,
Bobby, along with the newest manager that we get in here, Slick, has a lot of work today.
you're right. That's my first introduction to him.
The Slickster. Any other notes before we move on to the next one?
Yeah, Jesse the Body mentioned, look at the heels on these two guys.
You said heels?
Yeah, the heels on these two guys. Not sure what that the meaning behind
What does that mean?
Maybe he's just pointing out since they're on their, I think maybe on their tippy toes or something like that, trying to get the full Nelson on each other.
Probably.
So. I mean, I will say mid-match, I'm concerned for Billy Jack, and my back is hurting just looking at him.
Yeah.
And that wavy head of hair on the floor. There were so many press slams, and Hercules was a beast.
He was in this one.
Yep. So I think Hercules gave Billy Jack, what do you call it? Is it called a hood? I don't want to say something wonky. Is it a stretch? A head stretch?
Abdominal stretch?
Abdominal stretch?
I think.
Or,
I mean, but he like
the
he just like gave him the, maybe it was a full Nelson.
When he just comes around and then puts his hands and he's holding them like this.
Yeah, I was like, boy, do we need a stretch like that?
Yeah, that's the full Nelson. That's what this whole match is about.
Yeah. I was like, after that, he's gonna need a backiotomy.
He was working his back a lot, and what we don't see nowadays is that some wrestlers, once they get like the other wrestler hurting a specific part of the body, they don't really sell it. They might sell it like in the beginning of the match, but Hercules was selling his back a lot. Like he couldn't even lift up Billy Jack Haynes after a while.
Yeah, and now that you're pointing this out, this is like another pay-per-view that has that theme going through it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it ends up happening with the Macho Man and Ricky Steamboat.
Yes.
And then, of course, we get it also in the main event, too.
Then I had a question. Does Hercules get disqualified because he brings out his chain? I thought no foreign objects.
No, they were counted out.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, they get a count out because they're both trying to put the Nelson on each other on the outside of the ring instead of inside of the ring.
Yep.
Okay.
And then Hercules, because he's a spoil sport, that's when he goes to get his chain and starts breaking them up.
Well, that was my next question. So does this mean that Hercules was the heel of the match?
Yes, Hercules was the heel of the match.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Noted.
I think for the second match, to show blood so early, that was different. Usually they use the blood at the end. If not, they don't really use the blood that much.
Was he bleeding from his cheek?
It was
it was the top of his head.
Yeah.
Around his forehead or a little bit closer to the crown.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it would have been I think it would have been hard to do that because I don't think any of the feuds, maybe the Macho Man and Ricky Steamboat would have had that type of feud where you wanted someone to bleed, but I wouldn't have seen that happening. Like revisiting it now and rewatching it, I like Andre's never had anything like that from what I could see in any of the videos or like snippets that we see from Andre's early matches of where he's bleeding or he's making someone else bleed. So I would have found that very hard to happen.
What is he, Dracula?
All right, moving on to our next match, we have King Kong Bundy with two little people. I'm sorry I didn't get their names.
Little Tokyo and Lord Littlebrook.
Oh, Little Tokyo and Lord Littlebrook versus Hillbilly Jim, who has his own little tag team of little people that is made out of the Haiti kid
Mm-hmm.
and did you get the other one, Josh? Or no?
Yeah, the little beaver.
The little beaver.
Mm-hmm.
Leave it to Beaver.
Yeah.
I would say that's not my childhood favorite, but if it is your childhood favorite, leave it in the comments below.
This match goes 3 minutes and 50 seconds. Besides Bundy getting disqualified by taking out a little person there, any other highlights?
Not really for me. I thought this was a very bad match. I did like Hillbilly Jim's interview prior to the match where he's like, I'm going to protect my friends. And he kind of didn't protect his friends because King Kong Bundy like really went out and did a number on Little Beaver.
Wow.
And you could tell Hillbilly Jim felt guilty at the end. You could tell in his face.
I mean, he should because he let those little people down. How are they going to defend themselves? They'll have to take like 6 little people to make up one person big enough to take out King Kong Bundy.
Yeah.
I felt like I was actually rooting for Hillbilly Jim in this match.
Mm-hmm. And the Haiti kid.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, Bundy slammed Little Peter and everyone just kind of turns. And then what did he win due to a disqualification?
Well, Hillbilly Jim technically wins along with the Haiti kid because of the disqualification.
Okay.
Because I might have missed the explanation of the rules, but I guess the normal people weren't supposed to be wrestling the little people.
Right.
So Bundy never tags out,
Mm-hmm.
and so he performs a splash on both, I believe, the Little Beaver and Haiti kid, and that causes the disqualification.
What's a splash?
You know, when he's running and then people are laying down and then he jumps on top of them.
Okay. Different from a spritz, which is like a mini baby shower.
Is that a spritz or a spitz?
I think it's a spritz.
If you know the difference, a spritz or a spitz, leave that in the comments too.
You know what I also noticed is that they don't do it that much nowadays, but they do the total combined weight when they announce each wrestler.
Yeah, with the tag teams.
Yeah. Because the total combined weight for King Kong Bundy and his 2 little people was 654 pounds.
Wow.
And then Hillbilly Jim and his 2 little people were 484 pounds.
Wow.
But it's like, we don't do that anymore when we don't announce the total weight of a tag team.
No, I don't think WWE does it, but I think AEW does it.
Oh, okay.
So, because they still keep wins and loss records.
True.
Oh, wow. That's good to know.
WWE. Yeah, because they like to be like, this person has been on a winning streak since the beginning of the year, blah, blah, blah.
I love that. That's really good.
Yeah.
The next match, which would bring us to Harley Race with Bobby the Brain Heenan and Fabulous Moolah versus the Junkyard Dog. This is the Bow Before Me match, and you'll get to wear the crown. This match goes 3 minutes and 20 seconds. So this is also a short match.
That is very short.
And the thing that I like to that stuck out to me before this match even started was the Junkyard Dog's promo, where he's saying that he's gonna win as sure as he's black in the sun's light.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck? I mean, what the fudge is that? Yeah, I was like, wow.
Yeah, so that's
fudging offensive. Yeah.
Well, I mean, he is of the darker persuasion, but still, I mean, it was just a fun little tidbit that he decided to bring that out, that he was that certain he was going to win as sure as his skin is dark in the light.
Yeah. I mean, I just want to talk about Fabulous Moolah and her wonderful red ensemble. When she was coming out, it reminded me of that scene from the Hunger Game with Katniss Everdeen. Do you all remember that?
When her dress is
where
on
she's
fire?
introduced? Yeah. I was like, it had similar vibes for me. So I just wanted to talk about that for a second.
Josh, any thoughts on this?
I noticed a couple things too.
Okay.
Well, first things, the Harley Race did the Ric Flair turnbuckle flip.
Yeah, the getting whipped to a turnbuckle
Yeah.
and then flipping over it. Yeah, that happens.
And then he tried to do a headbutt
Yeah,
onto the outside and missed.
yeah,
And I'm like, why wasn't he hurt? Because back then there was no cushioning really on the outside like it is now. But
right.
that would have been a big issue. Also noticed that how old is Harley Race in this match? I don't know.
I don't know. Let's do some quick math. Why? Any other points before we?
Well, I mean, let's talk favorites while you're looking into that.
Of course, Junkyard Dog.
Yeah, that's my favorite too for this match is Junkyard Dog. He had those scoop slams.
Mm-hmm.
Again, scoop. There it is. So he was my favorite.
I think the ending, how it ended, was botched. I think Junkyard Dog kicked out, but it wasn't really caught by the referee.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Mhm.
I am not a fan of this win. I was actually super pissed off. The King won, and I was just like, yeah, no, it should have been Junkyard Dog with that win all day.
I think the ending was botched. I think it could have prolonged the match a little bit longer because 3 minutes sounds too short for the Junkyard Dog.
Yeah, that's right. Get it together. WrestleMania 1987.
Harley Race was 44 when this
Oh,
match
wow.
took place.
44. Well,
He looked
Thought
much
I'd
older.
let you get those
she looks older.
thoughts
I
on
know.
Yeah.
I'm like
I answered
44.
that question.
We
But,
may or may not be around 40.
I don't know. I don't know if I would want to keep seeing this match go because I think this is near the end of when Junkyard Dog is not
Yeah.
really keeping himself in check
Mhm.
as far as like keeping in shape
Yeah.
or doing anything to like better his in-ring performance.
Okay.
Mhm.
So
TJY was not in fighting shape. Still a
JYD?
fan. JYD.
Yeah, you said TJY.
What? Whoopsie. My
Okay.
acronyms.
Just wanted to make sure that we were on the same page, that we were talking about the same wrestler and not some other random
No,
wrestler.
we are.
Like Baby Blue Smith.
Oh yeah, Baby
Oh.
Blue Smith.
So,
And then Baby Blue Chunks.
mhm. Any other before we move up?
The wooden stairs is another thing that I kept like noticing on these matches, how close the guys actually came close to taking a bump off those stairs.
Mhm.
The stairs that lead up into the ring.
Yeah.
A few people barely missed it. That
Yeah.
could have been a
Yeah, I'm not
tragedy.
sure what the setup was, and
Mhm.
it looks like they get better. As far as I think this one was just like Vince was just trying to capitalize on as much as the square footage
Mm,
to get as many people in there just to set this record.
true.
And then later on they get a little bit better as far as using more of the square footage around the ring to get better, because I think the only way you're going to get people to be able to get up the stairs is either you bring that little car
Mhm.
closer and like drop them off into the ring, and I don't think anyone wanted to see that, or you had the little wooden stairs.
Right.
So yeah, so we get that. JYD has to bow to Harley Race. He kind of does like a half bow.
Mhm.
Then we get a curtsy, and then we get like a Asian inspired bow, and then
He had all the bows covered.
yeah, and then Moolah starts hightailing it, and I think because she knew what was happening, and that's when Harley Race turns his back. JYD takes his cape and then hits him with the chair, and then he runs off with his royal cape and crown.
Wow, that's what I do every day.
You run off with your royal cape and crown?
Yes.
Nice. All right. So moving along, we have another tag team. We have Jacques and Raymond Rougeau, the fabulous Rougeau brothers, versus the Dream Team. Dino Bravo, Greg the Hammer Valentine, with Dino Bravo at their side.
Beefcake. Brutus Barber Beefcake.
Oh, Brutus Barber Beefcake. And but it's still Greg the Hammer Valentine.
Yes.
They have Dino Bravo at their
but then-
side, and Johnny Valiant, their manager, that's been with them. Well, he's been with the Hammer the longest for the past 2 WrestleManias.
Wow.
So this match goes 4 minutes. 4 fast-paced minutes. Maria, who were you rooting for?
The Beefcake. He was wearing yellow printed Zubas, with cutouts and tights.
Cutouts of his thighs or something like
Yeah,
that?
so I'm like a fan of those tights because any tights that last that long during a wrestling match, let me buy some.
What about you, Josh? Do you have anything to say about the costumes or the ring gear?
Not really. I did like the Rougeau brothers.
Okay.
They're really good technically.
Jacques and Raymond, which one was your favorite?
Of course, Jacques. I think he becomes the Mountie later, right?
I believe that is correct.
Yes.
In real life?
No.
Oh, I was like, what?
Years later, he becomes the Mountie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's another character that we'll see later on.
I did notice that when Dino Bravo interfered, causing the match for Beefcake and Hammer to
for
win.
the Dream Team.
They celebrated and left Beefcake in the ring.
Yeah.
To get beat up.
Yep.
Oh no, they don't beat him up. They just
leave.
Yeah, after Dino Bravo attacks the Rougeaus and creates a distraction for the Hammer to pick up the victory. They just run off like a thief in the night.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was asking.
And they have a
question.
getaway vehicle, so it's like them robbing a bank because they just hop in that little cart, the ring cart, and then get hauled off. And the Beefcake is like, "Hey guys, what about me?"
You're right.
Yeah.
I mean, throwback to WrestleMania 2 with Gladys Purcell shouting, "Where's the beef?" He was left in the ring, and we don't know why.
Anything else before?
Could that be like trying to turn them
the face?
Right.
Maybe, but I mean, like the match
does something later.
The match should have done that. But like he should have been trying to stop Dino from interfering or anything like that. And like that probably could have been something they could have incorporated, because in the previous WrestleMania where they have a match and they lose to the British Bulldogs, the Hammer's getting pinned and Beefcake trips on the rope trying to get into the ring.
Wow. He got hammered.
Yeah. No, he did not get hammered. He got hung up.
He got hung up.
So, I mean, they probably could have played on that and say that, that Brutus wasn't into dastardly deeds or anything like that. And that's why he never interfered and he cost them the titles. And then this one, he didn't feel that Dino. But I think this was just like no one told them what they were doing. Like they told him to finish, but they didn't tell him we're just going to run out of there. And then since he didn't follow and that car was already gone, he's just like, hey,
yeah.
Remember me? You forgot about me.
That's what I get for hanging out with Hulk Hogan all night. I missed the note of where it says we're just gonna run out of there like thieves in the night.
Yep.
So I think eventually, he does end up going face, but I think it's just more because they just make a story happen out of that.
Good match.
Yeah.
I can't say it was my favorite, but it was a good match.
And then the next match we have is Adrian Adonis with the Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart, versus Roddy Piper. And loser gets their hair shaved match.
Mm.
Now this match goes for 6 minutes and
A little bit longer.
20 seconds. So it's been a little bit longer than what we've been seeing for the past couple of matches.
Okay.
And Maria, who were you rooting for?
And first of all, let's talk about Adrian Adonis looking gorgeous in a black robe with gold trim and his pink painted eye. That was but if you were sad in WrestleMania 2 because there were no bagpipers, you can still be sad because there were no bagpipers in WrestleMania 3. But they did play his music, so you know. And like you said, I'm rooting for Roddy and his belt. So what about you, Josh?
I was going for Roddy Piper as well. The crowd was very hyped up. They mentioned that this was his farewell match.
Yes, because he was either cast or he was gonna go and star in the movie They Live.
What is that movie about?
The movie is basically about I believe he's a janitor or something, and or a garbage man.
Okay.
And he finds these sunglasses, and the sunglasses are just not regular, ordinary sunglasses. They actually allow him to see the inside of what's really inside of people, which ends up being some type of alien.
Wow, that's awesome.
So he's just going around and shooting these people, and everyone's like, oh my god, this guy's crazy, because they don't see what he sees, because they do not have the special sunglasses. Yeah.
They needed those in that John Cena series.
Yeah, that's true. He could have used those. They also could have used them at the Secret Invasion. Who's a Skrull? Are you a Skrull? Am I a Skrull?
Am I a Skrull?
Is this Mike a Skrull?
Are you a Skrull?
Who knows?
Right.
Am I using a Skrull?
Yeah. Are you?
From Egyptian pyramid times? No, I'm not.
I hope not.
No.
I don't know where you'd get like the ink to write on that type of paper.
Parchment paper.
I said the ink.
Okay.
So
TBD on that, everybody.
Yeah. So with this one, so you were going for Roddy?
Yeah. Well, I noticed he had a belt. I mean.
Yeah, he always has that belt.
Okay, so it's not like it's an illegal.
No, I think it's technically to hold up his kilt that he's wearing.
Okay, that makes sense.
It's his belt kilt.
I too wear a belt when I wear my kilt.
Yeah. So yeah, you want him to hold that up, or else you'll be seeing his trunks or something else if he decides to go commando.
Right.
What do you think, Josh?
Not like Suburban Commando. That terrible movie that Hulk Hogan made.
So I heard that he actually came out to his music, but he didn't use a ring card. And I heard a story where he was actually trying to use the ring card, but it wasn't working properly.
Wow.
Yeah.
So he said, screw it, I'm just going to walk down there.
I mean, it probably was better for him to walk anyway, because that if that one was going to be his last match, you want to soak up the glory, get a little taste of the glory, see what it tastes like. So
what's that song? Last match for
what?
No, that's Last Dance. Sorry.
Yeah, it was his last match. His last match until he comes back in WCW.
Right.
I believe. So anything else besides this loser hair gets shaved?
Yes. Brutus the Barber Beefcake comes in and interferes.
Yeah, and I think that's when they just like they should have just showed the barber or Beefcake still lingering around the ringside instead of just having him come back and run out to help him. But I guess they were like, and maybe by the time Beefcake got back out there, Vince is like, "Well, you screwed it up. There's only one way for you to redeem it. Go run out there and run some interference."
I mean, Hart gets dragged back into the ring, right?
Yeah.
and they both get knocked into each other's foreheads.
Mm-hmm.
This is my okay. I'll wait, but I mean, so people remember. This is my second favorite match of this WrestleMania. Yes.
Okay, so we already have two. Wow. So this might end up being a WrestleMania with more than two favorite matches?
Yes.
For Maria?
Yeah.
Okay.
I really enjoyed this one.
Good. That's good to hear. So then the next we get some interference with Jimmy Hart. You know, like Josh mentioned that Jimmy Hart sprays Roddy with his perfume. I think it's whatever he has, and that's when Beefcake comes down. And then Piper comes back to life and puts Adonis in the sleeper. Mm-hmm. We get the arm droppings of 1, 2, 3, and the match is over. And Piper wins, and now it's time to shave Adonis, and the adorable one loses his locks.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I do have to give it to Adonis during this match. Mm-hmm. He really had stamina.
I mean, the match is only, how long is it? 6 minutes and 20 seconds.
Is it the longest match in WrestleMania 3?
So far?
So far.
No, the last one was Billy Jack and Hercules, and that one ran for 7 minutes.
Oops.
So, it is not the longest one at that time.
I like how Beefcake got back into the ring and was massaging Roddy back to life.
Yeah.
I was like, what's happening?
He's, I guess he's trying to say that he's got the magic touch.
What do you think, Josh?
It looked like the Beefcake was having some problems trying to shave off his Adonis's hair.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, I think this is before he goes to barber school.
Mm-hmm.
Because later on he comes back, and then that's when he becomes Brutus the Barber in Beefcake. So you know that's why he's terrible at cutting this guy's hair.
Right.
Okay.
Oh, and then a sad fact, the adorable one, Adonis, passes away a few months after.
No way. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
Spoiler.
Yeah. That's tragic.
In a car accident.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Oof.
Yeah.
Well, now
that you've taken off the life of this podcast.
No.
that bad. Well,
if you're still watching,
help warm with us as we continue this rewatch.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, I noticed that Roddy put him in a sleeper hold, and he wins, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we also see that some random fan jumps into the ring and gets arrested. So I want to ask, first of all, to our audience, are you that fan? If so, leave it in the comments and tell us what happened. But what about you guys?
Well, no, I was not that fan. Are you asking me if I was that fan? That fan looks like he was like 20-something years old when he ran into that ring.
Not that particular fan, but are you that type of fan that jumps into the ring?
No, I would not be that type of fan that jumps into the ring, mainly because I've seen what happens to those fans when they jump into the ring. And, this particular fan gets treated very nicely that I've seen. The other ones have gotten beaten up, not by security. They've gotten beaten up by the wrestlers themselves before security makes their way to them to take them out in handcuffs.
Yep.
Nice.
Seen that too many times.
So, anything else, Maria?
No, I think that takes us to our 7th.
No, one thing before we continue, I want to ask you.
Yes. I'm ready.
Are you going to be sad that we will not see Roddy Piper anymore into the future? Because he's been with us for the past 3 WrestleManias.
I mean, yeah, that's a good question. And I am. I'd like to see him, come back, and again, come back with his Pipers. So.
Okay. Noted. And so the next match we have is the Hart Foundation, Brett and Jim D'Ambo Neidhart,
Mm-hmm.
with Danny Davis, former WWF, now E, referee, turned heel, and now making his pro wrestling debut against. Oh no! Wait, in tow with them for some reason they had Jesse the Body Ventura.
I thought you were gonna say Matilda the dog.
No, that's the other side.
Oh, okay.
That's the other side that has Tito Santana, who's also been with us for the past 2 WrestleManias.
Okay.
With the British Bulldogs, who now have their mascot Matilda with them.
Who's my
And
favorite of this match
the only thing we were missing is Ozzy.
from the last one?
Yeah.
Okay.
So. Maria, who were you rooting for in this one?
Matilda the dog, obviously.
Matilda the dog.
Yes.
Okay.
But like you said, Danny Davis played a great heel in
He
this match. Wearing his striped ensemble, much like Beetlejuice would have.
Right.
Now, is there anything in particular for you, Josh, that stuck out of this match?
The beginning, I don't know if you guys caught it, but Matilda chased Jimmy Hart around.
I noticed that.
Yeah.
Good dog, right? I was like,
Yeah.
wow.
The way that they managed to get to that dog to actually do that, because we can't get our dog to do anything.
No, except for still socks. That's
Yeah.
about it.
Wow.
Well,
Yeah.
and he does that on his own. We don't even tell him to do
No, we're like, please don't steal our socks.
it. So, that's a very good doggo.
I like the fact that both tag teams had their outfits coordinated. You don't see that much when they wear the same thing.
Oh, you're talking about the Bulldogs and the Hart Foundation,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of tag teams currently that do any type of coordination now, because I think it's the whole thing. It's where Vince. Well, I really shouldn't say Vince now, but maybe it's something left over from Vince, because now Hunter or Paul Levesque is now in charge of the creative of WWE. So I should get more into the habit of saving when we talk currently that it's either Hunter or Paul's following in Vince's footsteps, or making his own decrees or whatever.
Mhm.
But it's primarily, I think, just so if one is hitting off better, it makes them easier to separate. And you can move forward without having to hold on to that old gimmick or character that they were holding on to. Like one recently we can think of would be, I forget their name, but when Otis came in here.
Otis Redding?
No, Otis, the big guy from that's now in the Alpha Academy, Josh.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And he came in with some other guy.
Mm-hmm.
And Otis was a hit.
Yeah.
And that other guy is no longer with the company. He's been future endeavored. So
Otis. Also the name of a bus line in a city I can't remember. So I mean, normally I'm rooting for Tito, right? But Davey Boy and Dynamite tagged in.
Baby Blue.
Mm-hmm. And I'm rooting for the Hart Foundation because they're putting in the work.
Yeah, the Hart Foundation at this point in time have taken the tag titles.
Mm-hmm.
This was said to be because of the rogue referee, Danny Davis, gone wild.
Mm-hmm.
Has not only taken the titles away from the Hart Foundation, the British Bulldogs, and helped the Hart Foundation win, but he also screwed Tito Santana.
Yep.
And
Shocker.
that gave the belt to the Macho Man, Randy Savage.
Oh, Macho.
So, Tito Santana and the Bulldogs are looking for revenge.
Mm-hmm. And they got it for the most part.
Yeah, because Danny Davis, you do some great selling.
Yep.
From what I see, unfortunately, your wrestling career doesn't really take off after this. But this is, if you, for some reason, are a Danny Davis fan, he takes the bumps and he sells
Yeah.
like no one sold before.
I mean, he really did. Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, I think he did a great job for his first time. The fact that Tito Santana went in there and just went to town on Danny Davis
Mm-hmm.
was great. Trying to get revenge for costing him his title. And the Bulldog also got his licks in as well. He did a great job too.
Yeah. And you can see that this is kind of where like Davey Boy is kind of like cementing his own. He's building his own because he's actually working the match a little bit longer than the Dynamite Kid. So
I heard that the Dynamite Kid had issues with his back at that time.
yeah, he does
Wow.
suffer an injury, and that's primarily one of the reasons why they lost the titles, type of things. But you know, this is. I'm not sure if that injury is holding him back here in this match because in the previous match too, well, not previous match as far as like this build up, but in the last WrestleMania, Davey Boy also does a lot of work, and he's the one that also gets the pin because you know he throws the hammer into the Dynamite Kid, and the Dynamite Kid goes flying and is nowhere to be found when it's time for the pin and the win. So.
I know. I saw that Jess ran away with the dog.
Jesse?
Yeah.
He was trying to put a little bandana on him, too.
And that Mary Hart announced that she was not related to Brett.
No.
No relation.
No.
Or Jimmy Hart.
Or Jimmy Hart.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's good for them.
I mean, that also I saw that flying elbow by Tito was pretty hilarious.
Yeah, right? He gets some good range with that flying elbow, doesn't he?
Was that the one he hit on Brett?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, that looked good.
He was dropping bows.
The interference by Jimmy Hart with the megaphone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's just to keep the feud going because, you know, you gotta, I guess they had more with the story to tell. They kind of gave a build-up, but what they do with the build-up, they don't give you the time frame.
Right.
So depending on how early in the feud, because if this is Danny Davis's first match as a competitor, then you can't have him losing that fast because then the faces get their revenge so early, and he's just a single guy. So, you know, he probably would have to face Tito or one of the Bulldogs and for it to be technically right in the world in wrestling kayfabe.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Dynamite really did a great job as a heel. What do you think?
Dynamite.
What did I say?
You mean Danny Davis?
Danny Davis. Woo! Danny Davis. Is that my second after Baby Blue? Oh, wow.
This is the second one today because you said the TYJ.
You're right. So that's like my third one. I'm still learning.
It's okay. I just wanted to make sure that I understand what you were trying to say.
Okay. But I mean, after all that work, I was surprised that Danny Davis won. It was shocking to me.
Yeah. And that's how the heels, you get, when you want the story to continue, you got to keep the baby face chasing for the side of good. Which, I mean, even though it was like an 8-minute and 50-second match, it was still pretty entertaining as far as like the storytelling of this match went.
And who are your favorites of the match?
I
think in this one I probably would have been going for Tito Santana and the British Bulldog.
Yeah. Always been a fan of the British Bulldogs. Tito too. They were my favorites to win. I don't know if you guys noticed, but Gorilla says that Danny Davis has been suspended for life plus 10 years.
What?
From refereeing.
That's funny. That's a good one.
Yeah.
So, like, the corpse can't be a referee either? Like, if it comes back zombified?
Guess not.
It's got to wait to 10 years?
Yeah.
No referee for him.
No zombie ref Danny Davis out there.
Yep.
All right. And then we have the next match, which is the natural Butch Reed with Slickster versus Koko Ware.
With Frankie.
With Frankie, yes.
The
Is
bird.
Cockatiel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the bird popping in and out of you. That was pretty cool.
Maria, did that bird popping in and out of you do enough to make you root for Koko Ware?
I was definitely rooting for Koko Ware during this match. So Koko gave some drop kicks to the natural, and so I like his wrestling style. I thought he was doing a really great job. What about you?
I thought it was a good match. Really didn't know that much about Butch Reed. I know Koko Ware for sure, but it was okay. I kind of didn't notice at first, but I kept noticing that Jesse the Body kept calling Koko Ware Buckbeak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is unfortunate, for this current time. But it was a very stereotypical name calling, unfortunately, back in those early days of wrestling.
Yeah, I also don't care if he was playing the heel during this one. I'm like, F what the Jesse the Body Ventura said. I was very upset. F that. Unacceptable. Koko should have won. So that brings us to...
Yeah, this was a short match, 3 minutes, 45 seconds.
Petite.
Yeah, and then unfortunately, not unfortunately, but well, maybe it is unfortunate because Slick starts interfering a lot, and due to all the interference, that causes Tito Santana to come out and rescue Koko Ware.
Where was he?
He was just done from the match. So.
Oh, okay. I was like, he wasn't hiding under the ring or something like that.
No, not this time.
Yeah.
No hiding under the ring for him. He was just back. He probably had just made it back to the stage, and someone told him, "Hey, go save Koko Ware," and he's like, "What? Arriba!" And then he ran.
He really did a number on Slick's clothes, though. He ripped them pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anything else from this match?
You?
No.
No more comments from the peanut gallery.
No. Okay. Yeah, just like the match is short, then we get a short little interlude before we go to one of my favorite matches from this one, which ends up being the Macho Man, Randy Savage with Miss Elizabeth versus Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, which this match goes for 14 minutes and 40 seconds. It is at this point in time, I believe that this is the longest match of the night, but it is not the longest segment because later on we do get like 15 minutes plus of Vince McMahon hyping the match between Andre the Giant and Hulk Hogan.
Right.
But besides that, Maria, you were rooting for the Macho Man?
Well,
or were you torn?
I was torn, but I was also rooting for Lady Elizabeth's jewelry because it was nice and sparkly and she looked gorgeous. So, but like you said, I was torn. Definitely a fan of Ricky and Macho. So it was a little tough. I mean, I'm rooting for Ricky, but Macho Man has a little piece of my heart. So, what about you?
I just want to mention how beautiful Miss Elizabeth looked like. Wow. Stunning. Of course, I love both Ricky and Randy. I remember watching this when I was a kid. It was tough to see both of them, like pick a winner out of both because you kind of root for both. The match is unbelievable. I think it's like a 5-star match in my book.
Oh, yeah. 5 stars.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
We got to do a rating.
No, we're not here to do any Meltzer type rating.
No rating, not like
No, I
5 suplexes,
No,
10 out of 10
I think I'm
suplexes.
just giving the people at the end of the podcast what matches we recommend for them to just watch if they do not want to watch 3 hours plus of wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And
We'll do it for you.
I think that's enough. Yeah,
we'll watch wrestling.
We're watching
for you.
these WrestleManias, so you don't have to. But let's go on to breaking this down as much as we do, because I think this whole match is just basically like a good example of ring storytelling.
Okay.
You know, you have Macho Man doing his best to put Ricky Steamboat over with all of his moves, all of the arm drags that Ricky Steamboat throws out there. We have, not only Macho Man trying to keep his attention on Ricky, but he also has to watch George the Animal Steel and make sure he does not run off with Elizabeth again.
Yep.
That's true.
That's true.
I mean, I don't know how I could forget about George the Animal Steel.
Yeah, and this is one of the other matches where I mentioned, or Josh had mentioned that someone was being worn down, and this is another example of someone being worn down. Mm-hmm. Once Macho Man gains control, he's wearing down Ricky Steamboat and pretty much working it where, you get that is, if you're a little kid like me and Josh probably were, if we were watching this live, we probably would have been like, come on, Ricky, you can do it.
Yeah.
Aww.
You can beat Macho Man.
Oh, that's super cute.
But, looking at it now, I was just like, no, Macho Man, you did a great job, and you were robbed, and you should have won. Rest in peace, Macho.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, this is a solid match. This is a good match. One of your favorites, right?
Right.
One of your favorites.
Yes.
I thought I was fine. Like, this is okay.
This is okay. This is not you're not adding onto your list of this was the second or third good match for you?
No, I mean, it wasn't my favorite, but Tiger was definitely working hard for that win.
The Tiger?
Not Tony the Tiger.
The dragon, you mean?
What am I doing? Where am I? What's happening? Okay, so that's the fourth one.
The third one.
I don't know if we're counting. Are we counting?
I don't know. I better start making a graphic for how many
counter in the corner.
Yeah. And, the TYJ, the Tiger. What was the second one, Josh?
Oh, I can't remember.
Okay.
Oh, we'll have to think about that. If you heard what the second name was that Maria mixed up of the nicknames, drop a comment.
Right.
So, anything else stick out for you here, Josh? Is it's just pretty much it goes. Ricky starts off hot. Macho gains control. Macho dominates for pretty much most of the match, and then Ricky manages to power up and score the win here.
Yeah, one of the things that stuck out is the fact that Jesse the Body kept messing up by calling Ricky the Dragon Steamboat injury on his larynx. He kept calling it larynx.
Wow.
I mean, that's one of those weird words where like larynx.
Yep.
Is there larynx like
here? Your throat. I think you might have been busy keeping the tot occupied when we were watching this.
Okay.
So you might have missed the video package that they, like I mentioned, started producing video packages so you could catch up with the story.
I like those. Yeah.
So it's good, especially if you're doing a rewatch, because now you get to kind of get some exposition as to why something's happening and why this match is built up.
Right.
So, but yeah, Macho Man picks up Ricky the Dragon Steamboat and then drops him kind of on his throat or larynx area on those steel railings that they have on ringside to keep the crowd away from the ring.
So what you're saying is that he got railed.
One way of looking at it.
Got it.
And then he also took the ring bell and
Yeah. That's pretty much towards the end of the match. Macho can't believe that Ricky's still over here hanging around, and he hits the flying elbow again, but instead of someone kicking out like Georgie Animal Steel, there's no ref because their ref took a bump.
Yes.
Wow.
So Macho's had enough. He's getting robbed. And so he decided that he's going to put an end to it all and take the ring bell away from the timekeeper. But that's when Georgie Animal Steel interferes and pushes Randy off, and Ricky rolls him up for the 1-2-3 pin and win.
Yep.
And any other takes before we move on?
I miss Howard Finkel and his "and the new." And
You miss him saying that, or you
Yes.
missed when he said it?
I miss both. I miss both.
Yeah, rest in peace to
yeah.
Fink. But he was a great announcer.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of has his little oopsies, daisies, like I think in the first and maybe in the second WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, he is one of those notable ring announcers where he pretty much defines the WrestleMania era when new champions are coming in and winning, or even sometimes when the champion retains and he's like, and still.
Mm-hmm.
So he just had a great voice.
Yeah. Also, I don't know if someone could comment on this, but I counted 21 false finishes.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
That's a lot of false finishes.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's a false finish?
A false finish is pretty much, well, it's not a false finish, but I think a lot of, I think what Josh is referring to is a lot of 2-count pins.
Okay.
So it's when he rolls them up in a small package and the ref is 1-2 and you think he's going to hit 3. Because now in modern times, you don't get a lot of small package wins. Whereas before you would see like the occasional, like in this one, you get a small package for a win. Now, I don't know. And that's where we'll have to make a note of it here as to when finishers become more frequently used in matches to be a definitive win in a match. We already did see one where, like we said, Macho Man last year or last WrestleMania 2 had Georgie Animal Steel kick out of his flying elbow drop. So that was the first, kick out of a finisher that we saw. But, actually, I do know when the next one comes, but that one's not too far away, and I don't want to spoil anything from Rhea. So,
I can't wait to pay attention to those false finishes.
Yeah, so this is a near fall. Yeah. And now there was like a lot of near falls here. That's what they call them.
Right.
So.
Well, that takes us to 10.
Yeah, and the 10th match brings us with Jake the Snake Roberts with local celebrity and rock and roll icon Alice Cooper and versus the Honky Tonk Man making his WrestleMania debut with Jimmy Mouth of the South Hart. This match runs for 7 minutes and 45 seconds. Maria.
Yes, that's me.
Who were you rooting for?
Well, I wasn't rooting for Alice Cooper, but I did have a question. Why does Alice Cooper always look the same age?
Maybe he has a blood boy.
He's like
in Silicon Valley.
He's like timeless. I'm rooting for Jake the Snake at this time.
Not the Honky Tonk Man.
No.
Oh, I got that one wrong. I figured that you would have been cheering for the Honky Tonk Man.
Yeah, so I was definitely rooting for Jake the Snake. I thought it was a solid match, and I didn't realize that you can get, or if you can be disqualified if you hold onto the ring. So
hold on to the
ring.
If
you hold on to the ring and you're trying to hold somebody down, they were talking about being disqualified.
Oh, okay. Was not paying attention to that.
What about you, Josh?
I was rooting for Jake the Snake. I got a soft spot for Jake the Snake. He's one of my favorite wrestlers growing up.
Yeah.
More because of Damien.
Yeah, and now we finally got the
Wow.
name of the snake. I don't think they mentioned it in
Yeah.
the previous WrestleMania,
That's right.
but I think Nate, our previous guest, did mention that this was the first appearance in WrestleMania for Damien,
Mhm.
even though he was not named.
Yeah.
So get the hot start with Jake going against the Honky Tonk. Honky Tonk tries to go for his finisher, but Jake rallies. Jake tries to finish, but Jake tries to go for his own finisher,
Okay.
the DDT. But as he's going for it, then Jimmy Hart grabs him, makes him lose his balance, and Honky Tonk rolls him up, uses the rope for leverage, 1, 2, 3 pin, and Honky Tonk makes a break for it,
Mhm.
and in doing so, he leaves behind Jimmy Hart,
Mhm.
who has to face the wrath of Damien.
And Jake the Snake puts Jimmy Hart in actual full Nelson.
Oh, he does, yeah.
He
So
should have won the full
so
Nelson
he could try to.
match.
Well, with Alice Cooper bringing
Yeah.
Damien to him, he was trying to hold Jimmy Hart so he can put Damien on him.
Mhm.
Well, speaking of Damien, it was so loud. I was concerned for the python.
Mhm.
So I'm like, do snakes have ears?
I don't think they do they?
So they don't have like an external ear, but their ears are similar to ours, just a little bit different.
They feel the vibrations.
Yeah, you're right. It connects much like that song, Feel the Vibration. It connects to their jawbone.
Okay.
Enabling them to sense vibrations. So they can only hear a portion of what we hear.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So they probably felt all the vibrations and were all thrown off
They're like, ah.
with the 93 plus, the 93,000 plus in the arena. They were there to see the extravaganza that is WrestleMania 3.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, 93,000 people that participated. I like that they said that it was like a world indoor record. And it was like a massive draw. Their numbers as far as attendance were actually between 78,000 and 88,000 fans.
Yeah, I think the only thing that drew WrestleMania at this time was when Pope John Paul II visited America.
Wow.
So they came pretty close to outdrawing the Pope.
And then, sorry, if you are curious, wrestling fans, how much a ticket was at that time.
Yeah, I want to know because we will be buying purchasing our WrestleMania 40 tickets soon when they go on sale.
So we're talking, what year is this?
This is 1987.
Yep.
So you paid $19.95
for the closed circuit,
or $24.95, or the highest I saw was $29.95 at that
These
time.
are tickets?
Ticket
Yes.
prices.
Oh,
Yeah.
that explains when I was doing the research that it said that he only made like 1.7 million in ticket sales.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, that seems pretty low, but it makes sense now hearing those prices.
Yeah, so, when you hear your parents talking about a gallon of milk,
Was a quarter.
I was going to say a nickel. Yeah, about a quarter. I mean, those prices, right?
Yeah.
And then Josh, what do you think?
I love the match only because of Jake the Snake Roberts does it for me for some reason.
Is it the hair?
No, it's the DDT.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's of course Damien. But it's also his promos. His promos are very, very interesting, very intriguing.
Yeah,
The way
he had
talks.
great psychology. I think
Yes.
was he had an understanding of his character and his gimmick, and he sold pretty much that he was just a wild man with a snake, and he was going to do whatever you needed to do to win and get that snake on you.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys noticed, but the package the leading up to the build of that whole montage that they did.
Yeah,
when he was it Piper's Pit? When Honky Tonk man came up with his guitar and smashed it on Jake the Snake. So I heard that guitar was not gimmick to break. It was an actual guitar.
Yeah, I don't think any of the guitars were gimmick to break yet.
Wow.
So it really
I
hurt
think
Jake the Snake.
Yeah,
Wow.
I think that doesn't happen until
Mhm.
later on because someone gets hurt. I don't know who, but someone gets hurt from that, like a concussion or something.
Mhm.
And so now they need it to be gimmicked, so it's not as hard of a pop or a hit to their head.
Yeah, it really messed up his neck.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And now we have what I think Nate introduced last week, the bathroom break match, which is pretty sad because for the past 2 WrestleManias, this team has been entertaining me.
I was gonna say.
It's the Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov with Slick versus the Killer Bees. This match ran 6 minutes and 20 seconds. But before the match even begins, we of course get Nikolai singing the USSR Soviet Union national anthem.
Mm-hmm.
But while he's singing, we get patriotic hacksaw Jim Duggan with his 2x4 to come out and stop him from singing that commie national anthem. Maria, you haven't seen Hacksaw Jim Duggan before. This is probably like your first introduction to him.
Yeah, this is my first introduction to
what
him
did
and
you
his
think
2x4.
of Hacksaw Jim Duggan?
What did I think of him? I really didn't have like much of an opinion. I know that he made an appearance here and there. So I didn't really have a big opinion. Just surprised that he came out with a 2x4. What about you, Josh?
Well, first of all, rest in peace, Iron Sheik.
Mm-hmm.
I really didn't like this match at all. It goes back. There's a couple of horrible matches in the WrestleMania. This is one of them for me. The Killer Bees. I didn't really know them at this point. To throw them in there with the Iron Sheik and Nikolai Volkov, 2 legends, and then the Killer Bees. I really don't know who they really are.
Yeah, but I think like I mentioned, this was pretty much like the bathroom break.
Right.
So you just had maybe it wasn't like a great match before with Jake the Snake. But these I think was what we want to call like cool down matches. Like you already need the crowd to kind of be like relaxed or maybe more anticipating. We're like, oh my God, it's the Killer Bees versus Iron Sheik and Nikolai. Oh, we already know that Iron Sheik and Nikolai are gonna win. So let me go relieve some of the beer that I have been storing in my bladder, or go get my t-shirt, depending how long merch lines used to be back then. And, get ready to go because I don't know how long it's going to take me to get out of this parking lot if I drove to the Pontiac Silverdome. So you want, the crowd is pretty much getting ready and they know that there's no more matches after this. After this, we're going to get Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant. So you can't make the match too long, but you can't make it too memorable. And that's pretty much why this match only goes for that time of 6 minutes and 20 seconds. And we get a disqualification because Hacksaw cannot stand the cheating by the Sheik and Nikolai Volkov.
Right.
Well, I couldn't wait for this to be over.
Sometimes you just need things to let it be.
Oh, behave.
Yeah, the buzz for this match was awful.
Yeah, and it ends up in disqualification. And pretty much it's, I think, either to see if there's any interest in moving this forward, and then they can. But I don't think they have anything going, and we can just give it a rest. And Nikolai and Iron Sheik can move on to harassing some other baby faces
Yeah, I agree with both of you. On Revisiting the Mania, we talk about a lot of unforgettable matches, but this was definitely a forgettable match for me. Glad it's over.
Yeah, and that's why I'm very disappointed because the Sheik and
You're-
Nikolai delivered to me, in my opinion, for the last two WrestleManias.
You're right. Yep.
There's only one good thing out of this match that was really horrible.
What?
That Slick came out with his torn clothes. He didn't change his outfit. He came out. I think that was awesome. The whole continuation of I got my clothes ripped off and I'm coming into the ring with the same clothes that I ripped off. I thought that was cool.
Wow.
Yeah, you figure he would have had at least some time to change, but maybe they lost his luggage. Who knows? Slick, I don't think Slick is watching.
If you've lost your luggage,
tell
us about that terrible experience.
Yeah.
Put it in the comments. All right, and now we're coming to the main event. The match that rockets Hulk Hogan into the stratosphere. This is when Andre puts his 15-year win streak on the line to try to be a WWF now heavyweight champion of the world.
So, like, Hulk Hogan's 33 at this time, right?
Yes, we did the math earlier, and I did not believe that he was 33. I knew he was in his 30s, but I thought maybe his early 30s, like maybe 30 or 31, but 33. And he looks like a very old 33. I think is what we all came to our conclusion.
I was like, he's 33.
Yeah.
I was like,
But the one thing I want to point off is this, including the sizzle reel, the why, the hype, they spent a total of 15 minutes hyping this match up for you, in case like you weren't sure if you wanted to watch this match or if you just wanted to go home because you were like a big Iron Sheik fan and you were like, well, why am I going to stay and watch Hulk Hogan, that jabroni? So.
Well, I mean, let's talk dollars, right? So, Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant each got $750,000 for the match. With Andre getting an additional $250,000 bonus for doing that job for Hogan, like you said. So
yeah, and
that's a lot of money.
Pretty much what this is. This is getting close to when Andre's having more health issues because of his gigantism and his constant depression, drinking, and it's taking its toll on him, and he has to put Hulk Hogan over.
Right.
He has to make him a solid champion, and how else do you make Hulk Hogan the immortal one? By having him beat Andre the Giant, and not only beat him, but also be the first one to body slam him in the WWF now ring. Now, Maria, I know you're a fan of the Gentle Giant, Andre, and you've kind of been like a little Hulkamaniac too. Who were you rooting for?
So you would think I'd be rooting for problematic Hulk Hogan. But like you mentioned, I'm rooting for Andre. It was a solid match. I don't know if you guys agree that I felt like the match really didn't live up to the hype. So I was kind of like disappointed, but let's be real, I didn't want to see Hulk Hogan in a match with Andre anyway. So what do you guys think?
Yeah, I think that this match probably was expected to be more of a heavyweight fight, but Andre is very limited in his range already because he's a big guy. and Hulk Hogan was already limited in the moves that he actually performed. So the only way this match was able to go off, I can't see it going anywhere like differently than the way they performed it. If you're gonna have Hulk Hogan be the guy over Andre, now if Andre was gonna be the guy and was in good health, and was able to defend the title, or have a good little run, then maybe we would have had something different. But since this is pretty much near the end of Andre's career, uh, you have to give it to the new guy. And Andre knew that you had to put the other guy over. So, he was ready to send it home, give Hogan the rub, put him over, and get the company in the locker room and in going in a great direction to make everyone money.
Right.
What do you think, Josh?
I agree. I think Andre the Giant at this point was going through a lot of pain physically. So there was a lot of stuff that he wasn't able to do. He tried his best.
Mm-hmm.
I think someone mentioned, I saw somewhere where he actually wrestled that with a back brace because he was like, his back was pretty messed up. And you could tell, like, a lot of the stuff he was doing was kind of slow.
Yeah. He held that bear hug for like 2 minutes on Hulk Hogan, and most of the offense he could do was just chops and headbutts and things along those lines. He couldn't really take a good pump here and there.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I can't see any other way of how this match was orchestrated.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who orchestrated this match. Hogan wants to say that he had a dream, and in that dream, once he woke up, he wrote down every way, every move that was going to be performed in this match, and he told Andre, and Andre's like, yeah, okay. But I hate to think that that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, I like the match. I guess the whole slamming Andre the Giant is a turning point for Hogan's career, because every time you see a montage of Hogan, they throw that in there somehow.
Yeah, you see it now in WWE TV when they're talking about then and now.
Yeah.
It's like the beginning of it. It's like Hulk Hogan body slamming Andre. Every time a WWE pay-per-view or TV show comes up, it's right there, right away, like in the first 10 seconds of it.
Yeah.
Is that like a tribute, like where comedians wear leather, to honor Eddie Murphy?
I don't think so. I think it's just like a thing that Vince came up with. To how Marvel has that whole sting in the beginning where it shows like the comic books,
like a recap
flipping. Like the beginning when it has the Marvel fanfare and it has like comic book pages flipping and like scenes flashing.
Okay.
This is what Vince has, and he has video clips, Andre's body slamming, or Andre being body slammed by Hulk.
Okay.
And then you see HBK coming through the WrestleMania, and one of the WrestleMania entrances coming down the zip line. And then you hear Ric Flair going, woo! And then that's the then part. And then we get to the now, which is John Cena, the You Can't See Me. And you hear what the Rock is cooking. And I think there's some Stone Cold Steve Austin glass breaking in there too. So that's that whole thing. It's like he has his Marvel version of that sting in the beginning.
I like the build up on prior to the match. They did a little montage of what happened in the past. The whole where Andre the Giant rips Hogan's shirt and his necklace, and
which was terrible acting by Hogan, I think.
Right.
Where he's like, "What are you doing, brother? Why did you rip my shirt?" And you're like, "Hogan, you rip your shirt every time you're out there in the ring. Why does it matter that Andre ripped your shirt? Your shirt?"
Yeah. And then when they were asking him, like, "Are you gonna face Andre the Giant?" and he does this big old yeah.
I can see why Mr. Nanny was so successful.
I mean, all those poses at the end, I was like, this is hilarious.
Yeah, Hogan does take very great advantage of his victory by celebrating for about 7 to 8 minutes.
Yeah.
As one should celebrate their victories for 7 to 8 minutes.
I don't think you should have to celebrate for 7 to 8 minutes.
I thought it was kind of sad towards the end when Bobby the Brain and
when Andre and Bobby the Brain are leaving in that cart, and then everyone was just throwing stuff at them still.
They're throwing garbage.
And what was going on with that? I'm like, that's pretty crappy. They did that with Macho, no? And
they did it with all the bad guys, and I think with even some of the baby faces that they didn't like, they also did that too.
Yeah.
So this crowd was very rowdy
and
very demonstrative as to who they were rooting for and why they were rooting for them, and if they didn't like you, you were gonna get something thrown at you.
Wow, are you that fan? Don't throw food.
Yeah, there's lots of kids that would probably, or adults that would probably enjoy eating that food.
I think there was like Miss Elizabeth was also getting like food tossed at her with Macho.
Yeah,
I'm
she
like,
was going back with Macho.
Rude.
Okay, now that we're nearing the end of this WrestleMania 3 revisit, Josh, what are your matches that stand out for you as matches you would recommend for one of our viewers to watch if they do not want to watch the whole 3 hours and 5 minutes of this pay-per-view?
Definitely, you have to watch Randy Savage versus Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. That has to be part of the number one match that if you love wrestling, if you're barely getting into wrestling and you want to see a really good technical match, that's probably the best one you're going to be able to watch. I think the whole story behind it in real life, before the match even started, how Randy Savage choreographed it and laid it out step by step and talked to Ricky the Dragon Steamboat and how much of a perfectionist that Randy Macho Man was. He wanted everything nailed down perfectly. Even if they messed up, he would get angry. Like, what's, move 142? And Ricky would be like, hip toss. And Macho would be like, yes. And throughout the whole pre-working of the match, how technical it got and how great it came out to be, that did it for me. Really a fantastic match.
That's it? Just that one?
That one, pretty much it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maria. What are your highlight matches of this pay-per-view?
I think we said the Can-Am Connection versus Muraco and Cowboy Orton was one of them.
That was one.
What was my second one?
It was the Macho Man, wasn't it?
I think
it was. Was there one, or was it the Adonis one?
I should have wrote it down.
You should have wrote it down, especially me, because I have terrible memory.
It's okay. I'll recap it and I'll add it in the comments later.
Yeah. Do you have another one besides the second one that's escaping you?
That's my. I'll put them in the comments.
Okay, so you're gonna think about it a little bit more.
Think about it.
Okay. As for me, I have I think 3 matches out of here. It's a shocker, but going 3 years or 3 pay-per-views in a row, I like a tag match, and the tag match I recommend that you should watch is the Hart Foundation with Danny Davis versus the British Bulldogs with Tito Santana. Not only because you get to see Bret Hart and Jim Diambo Neidhart work a little bit more, whereas WrestleMania 2 they were only in there in limited time with Andre the Giant in a battle royal. but you get some really good selling by Danny Davis, and he really sells that whole, bad guy heel type of work. And not only does he sell that, as far as psychology wise, he also sells all the moves and that are being performed on him. So that's one of them. The second one would be the Macho Man versus Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Very good match with also great match psychology. Gone through it, and has Josh mentioned right briefly. Lots of detail, and I guess perfectionism went into that match, and it shows because if you ask any wrestling aficionado what the best WrestleMania 3 and maybe the best WrestleMania match or one of the WrestleMania matches is of all time, they would also mention this Ricky Steamboat versus Macho Man match. And then the third one, just because I am also an Andre the Giant fan now as I've gotten older and got to read more about the history and see more of the history, is the Andre the Giant versus Hulk Hogan. And it's not because this is the beginning of Hulkamania, which back then when I did see this, and I don't remember if I saw this live, if I didn't, then same thing, video or whatever, someone's house. But just because of knowing the backstory of the pain that Andre has been going through, and he's basically just trying to going through here, I think he's just trying to accumulate money at this point because he knows he's not very long for this life. This is 1987, and I believe he passes like in 90 or 91. So at this time, he's just trying to give himself enough money to actually take care of his daughter, because he does have a daughter.
Oh.
And he's just thinking about his family and making sure that they're okay after he passes. So knowing that, and knowing that as much as later on we find out that even though they travel a lot, some of these wrestlers don't get along, and some of these attitudes come out, and people don't mesh like character wise or something or the other. But Andre knew what was good for business, and he knew what was the best way to make everyone money, and it was by putting Hulk Hogan over.
And just on a side note, so we were talking about Andre's daughter, Robin Christensen Rusimov. So one thing she's shared is that she's currently working as a consultant on an upcoming film. So there's a biopic in motion that will surround the life of Andre the Giant. And she was hired to consult on the production. So right now it's still in production, no release date. So hopefully we get to see that sometime soon.
Yeah, maybe we'll get that guy who plays Andre on Young Rock.
Yeah.
He did a very great job.
Yeah.
And with that, if there's nothing else, Maria, Josh, hey, thank you very much for joining us today at Revisiting the Mania, the WrestleMania rewatch of WrestleMania 3. If you have any comments, please feel free to drop them. We have our socials, Revisiting Mania, at Revisiting Mania on Twitter, Instagram, our Facebook page at Revisiting Mania 2. We are also on Threads at Revisiting Mania as well, and our YouTube channel at Revisiting Mania. And we will also upload this. I'll probably upload the audio podcast if you're listening to our audio format. I'll probably be uploading this, like, if not Friday, on Saturday. All right. Thank
What-
you very much.
Where can they find us?
Oh, I forgot. You could find us on any major podcast platforms: Apple, Google, Spotify, Pocket Casts. Am I missing one? Amazon, Audible. Like I said, any major podcasting platform. Thank you very much for joining us, and have a great night.